Atrial fibrillation and flutter. Atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter are very fast electrical discharge patterns that make the atria contract very rapidly, something like 300 to 600 times a minute, with only some of the electrical impulses reaching the ventricles, the others being blocked at the AV node or concealed at the AV node, and thus causing the ventricles to contract faster than normal but less efficiently than normal. So, the ventricular output or the ejection fraction is less, the ventricular activity is more, the rate of the ventricles is more than normal, but of course, all the impulses from the atria are not conducted down to the ventricles. Some of them are concealed or stopped at the AV node. That is the reason the patient is able to live. Otherwise, if the atrial impulses, all of them are going to be conducted down into the ventricles will go into a state of fibrillation and the patient's life itself will be endangered. Atrial fibrillation is a supraventricular tachyarrhythmia. Supraventricular in the sense that the arrhythmia is originating above the level of the ventricles, that is, it is in the atria. The most common arrhythmia seen in clinical practice is atrial fibrillation. Almost 5% of the population older than 70 years do suffer from atrial fibrillation. The prevalence of AF increases dramatically with age, which we will be seeing in the subsequent slides. Atrial fibrillation is of course associated with increased death rate to the tune of 1.5 to 1.9 times. It is characterized by disorganized atrial electrical activity. There is a progressive deterioration of the atrial electrical mechanical function or electromechanical function, with several theories put forward for the abnormal activity in the atria. We will visit some of these theories in the subsequent slides. The best way to identify and diagnose atrial fibrillation is of course an ECG. So, that is why before we actually look at all the other aspects of atrial fibrillation, we will first try and see how the ECG looks like, because that is the hallmark of diagnosis, and then of course we go for the other aspects of atrial fibrillation. The most important characteristic in the ECG is the absence of P waves, because P waves represent the atrial contraction. Here there is no uniform synchronous single atrial contraction occurring in each cardiac cycle. Instead, the atrial activity is sort of very diffuse, and small wavelets activate the atria, and the P waves are absent, and we have to look for the P waves in lead 2, lead 3, AVF and lead 1. These are the leads which tell all the stories about the atrial activity, particularly the P waves. The absence of P waves is characteristic of atrial fibrillation. These P waves are replaced by rapid oscillations due to the fibrillation of the atria, and these are called the fibrillary waves. These fibrillary waves may be very fine or may be coarse undulations. There may be low amplitude wavelets which can be seen, and in some patients we may not see any waves at all in the area of the P wave except for flat baseline. These vary in amplitude, frequency and shape. Atrial fibrillation has a typically irregular ventricular response. Irregularly irregular heart and pulse are the characteristic of atrial fibrillation. Usually the ventricles are activated through the impulse conducted down from the atria, and that is why the QRS is narrow in majority of the cases of atrial fibrillation. But of course, in patients with reentrant pathways with atrial fibrillation, the activation of the ventricles occurs through the reentrant pathways from the ventricle itself, and that is why the QRS will be widened. So, in other words, the ECG characteristically should show no P waves. Instead, F waves may be present, or there may be a flat baseline, and these F waves, if they are present, they vary in amplitude, frequency and shape, and there is a very irregular ventricular response. the RR intervals vary very much, and the QRS is usually narrow unless the arrhythmia is associated with a reentrant pathway, in which case there will be a wide QRS. So, this is the description of a classical picture of atrial fibrillation on the ECG. Let us now look at a tracing of the ECG of atrial fibrillation. Look here, as we have discussed in the previous slide, there are no P waves. The P waves are absent before each QRS complex. The RR intervals are not constant. Look here, this is a very short RR interval. This is a very wide RR interval. That means the ventricular activity is irregularly irregular. If we observe the V1 lead, we can see the coarse fibrillary waves or F waves. So, the atrial rate, if we calculate, it is around 350 to 650 beats per minute in atrial fibrillation. Ventricular rate is maybe slow, maybe rapid, depending on the AV nodal conduction. The rhythm in atrial fibrillation is irregular. The P waves are absent. Instead, they are replaced by fibrillatory or fibrillary waves are fine to coarse in nature. PR interval not applicable because there is no P wave. We can't say this is the PR interval. The QRS is usually narrow and it is usually less than 0.12 seconds. In cases of aberrant conduction, the QRS will be widened and it will be more than 0.12 second. So, in this ECG, we see that narrow QRS. So, the QRS interval is less than 0.12 second. The two tracings here on this slide depict the atrial fibrillation versus atrial flutter. This is the normal ECG, the P wave followed by QRS and the T, and the RR intervals are constant and very regular heart. Look here, the RR intervals are varying, they are not constant, the heart rate is irregular, the QRS complexes are occurring at irregular intervals. There are no typical P waves before the QRS complexes, but there are undulations of the baseline around the P wave area, and these are the fibrillary waves, and this is classical of atrial fibrillation. In case of atrial flutter, look here, this is the normal ECG again, the P wave, the QRS and the T waves and the regular QRS complexes, narrow QRS complexes. Whereas in case of flutter, we have the sawtoothed appearance of the P waves. The P waves are replaced by the sawtoothed appearance of the flutter waves, and there is a regular conduction of every 2 or 3 beats. For every 2 or 3 atrial contractions, there will be one ventricular contraction, and this is what is called the 1:2 or 1:3. In this case, it is 1:3. You can see 1, 2, 3 flutter waves followed by one QRS complex, and this is a 1:3 conduction of the atrial flutter. So, these are the two ECGs which are pertaining to the atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. In some patients, atrial fibrillation is initiated by premature atrial contraction. That means atrial fibrillation is triggered by a premature beat originating from the atria. Look here, this is the normal beat in V1 and this is the premature beat, and this triggered the atrial fibrillation. Here irregular QRS complexes, no P waves, and this is what is being triggered by the PAC. A brief run of atrial fibrillation initiated by early PAC, which is indicated by the red arrow here.